Deep within the Vatican's secret archives, where the air is thick with the dust of centuries, Brother Matteo, a nervous novice, was assigned the monotonous task of reshelving ancient codices. Late one evening, as torchlight danced across the stone walls, he noticed an irregularity, a hairline crack behind a towering bookcase forming the outline of a door. No map or record in the archives mentioned it, and the senior archivists, with their guarded eyes, had never spoken of such a thing. Matteo's curiosity, tinged with dread, compelled him to investigate. He pressed the stone, and with a low, grinding rasp, the wall parted, revealing a hidden door of blackened wood, its surface carved with jagged sigils that seemed to writhe in the flickering light. A cold, sour wind slithered out, carrying a faint, guttural whisper that made Matteo's skin crawl. Against his better judgment, he pushed the door open, revealing a narrow staircase spiraling into darkness. The air grew heavier with each step, laced with a stench like charred bone and decay. His lantern barely pierced the gloom, its flame trembling as if afraid. At the bottom lay a circular chamber, its walls slick with an oily sheen, etched with symbols that burned the eyes to linger on. In the center stood a crude altar of jagged obsidian, its surface pitted and stained with something darker than blood. Chains, rusted but taut, stretched from the altar to the floor, as if anchoring something in place. The whispers grew louder, coalescing into a voice, low, sibilant, and ancient, speaking words Matteo couldn't comprehend, but felt like needles in his mind. Then he saw it. A shape in the shadows, too tall, too thin, its limbs bent at impossible angles, its eyes, two glowing embers, fixed on him, and a smile, wide and jagged, split its face. Matteo froze, his breath stolen by terror. The thing didn't move, but the chains rattled, and the altar pulsed with a sickly green light. "You've come!" the voice hissed, now inside his head, oily and intimate. "The key! You will bring it!" Matteo fled, stumbling up the stairs, the demon's laughter chasing him. The door slammed shut behind him, and when he turned, the bookcase stood flush against the wall, the crack gone. His heart pounded as he vowed to tell no one, but sleep eluded him. That night, in his cell, the whispers returned, louder, demanding. Shadows seemed to twist in the corners, and his dreams were filled with the chamber, the altar, and those burning eyes. Desperate, Matteo confided in Sister Clara, a librarian known for her knowledge of the occult. Her face paled as he described the chamber. She spoke of a demon, an ancient entity called Zorathys, bound beneath the Vatican by the first popes to prevent its corruption from spreading. The door was no accident. It was a seal, weakened by time or intent, and Matteo's presence had stirred the beast. Worse, Zorathys was cunning, seeking a key, an artifact hidden within the Vatican, to break its chains. Clara warned that the demon would not rest until Matteo served its will. The next day, Clara was found dead in her study, her eyes burned out, her hands clutching charred pages. Matteo, now alone, felt the demon's presence grow. Objects in his room moved on their own. Mirrors reflected not his face, but hers, grinning. The whispers became commands, urging him to search the archives for the key, a small, bone-white relic said to hum with unholy power. He resisted, praying feverishly, but the demon's voice burrowed deeper, promising torment eternal if he defied it. One night, unable to bear the pressure, Matteo returned to the archives. The hidden door reappeared, its sigils glowing faintly. He descended, trembling, to find the chamber changed. The chains were looser, the altar cracked, and Zorathys stood closer, its form more solid, its claws scraping the stone. "The key!" it snarled, its voice shaking the walls. Matteo, weeping, felt his hand move to his pocket, where he'd unknowingly carried a small white object found earlier that day among the manuscripts. It burned his fingers, alive with malice. As he placed the key on the altar, the chains snapped, and Zorathys lunged forward, its laughter a deafening roar. The last thing Matteo saw was its maw, endless and black, swallowing the light. The Vatican reported Brother Matteo missing, his cell empty, his belongings untouched. The archives remain silent, but some